Topic name: Bronze welding of single V butt joint on cast iron plate, 6 mm thick plate, 1G, OAW 21.
Hello students, in this session we shall study bronze welding of single V butt joint on cast iron plate 6 mm thick plate 1G OAW 21. The purposes this session fulfills are: 1. To prepare clean the job pieces as per drawing. 2. To select the correct nozzle size and filler rods and flux. 3. Set a slightly oxidized flame. 4. Deposit root and second run by applying the flux. 5. Clean and check for defects on weldment.
Tools commonly needed for bronze welding are mentioned below. 1. Oxy-Acetylene Welding Equipment. 2. Personal Protective Equipment PPE. 3. Welding Workstation Setup. 4. Grinding and Prepping Tools. 5. Bronze filer material and flux. 6. Cleaning and degreasing tools. 7. Measuring and marking tools. 9. Fire extinguisher. 10. Welding consumables. 11. Welding inspection tools. Dear students, let's study the major steps of the job sequence for learning execution of this work.
1. Clean the surface of workpiece from oil, grease, dirt, and remove oxides if any by filling or grinding. 2. Grind the edges of the plate to no feather edges. Form a single V of included angle of 90 degrees. Round off all sharp edges. 3. Select nozzle number 7. 4. Select a silicon bronze filler rod of 3 mm for the root run and 5 mm for the second run. 5. Select bronze flux and 0.15 kg per centimeter square pressure for both gases. 6. Ensure all safety precautions before lighting the torch. 7. Set a soft oxidizing flame. 8. Apply flux in powder form by dipping hot filler rod. Then tack weld on the ends of the joint with a uniform gap of 25 mm. 9. Weld the root run using leftward technique and 3 mm filler rod, keeping the job at 30-degree slope. 10. Ensure wetting of weld faces the filler metal before building up the bead. 11. Heat the weld faces only to dull red color by giving circular motion to the blowpipe.
Important instructions. It is not necessary to melt the base metal for bronze welding of cast iron.
13. Clean the root run and deposit the second run using 5 mm filler rod after applying flux. 14. Fill the joint by filler metal to get a maximum of 1.5 mm reinforcement. Good ripple information. 15. Clean the joint, removing any flux residue and inspect for defects. 16. Heat control is important. If the heat is insufficient, the bronze metal will not wet the surface or flow properly. 17. Excess heat will cause the bronze metal to flow more freely and not allow it to build up. Dear students, let's study the skill sequence for learning execution of this work.
The objective of this session is to help you to prepare the bronze welding of single V butt joint on cast iron plate of 6 mm thickness.
Set the job with 30-degree inclinations. Keep the angle of the filler rod at 30° to 40° and give a rubbing action to the filler rod on the V. Maintain the angle of the blowpipe at 60° and 70° and give a circular motion to the blowpipe. Deposit a root run with a 3 mm filler rod and the finishing run with a 5 mm filler rod. Dip the hot filler rod end into the powdered bronze flux frequently. In bronze welding of cast iron, the base is only heated to 650 degrees Celsius and it is not melted. So while depositing the root run, the surface of the joint is coated with a layer of filler metal for about 20 mm along the joint. So, while depositing the root run, the surface of the joint is coated with a layer of filling metal for about 20 mm along the joint, ensuring that it is correctly bonded. Figure 1. Then return to the starting point and add sufficient filler metal to produce a satisfactory weld. This method is repeated continuously until the root run is completed. Figure 2. Ensure root penetration by the filler metal and fusion between consecutive bronze filler metal deposits. Weld similarly the second run by using 5 mm filler rod dipped in flux with a soft oxidizing flame and get 1.5 mm reinforcement and good bead up to the end of the joint. Figure 3. Clean the bead and remove the flux residue on both sides of the joint. Inspect the joint for weld defects like porosity, incomplete penetration, etc. Dear students, let's have a brief summary of this session. 1. The session began with introduction and clarifying the objectives. 2. Then after the requirements including tools, formalities and PPEs required to carry out this work have been discussed. 3. Finally, we discussed the stepwise job sequence. With this, we conclude this session.
Regarding bronze welding of single V butt joint on cast iron plate of 6 mm